with you, Dustin. What did you like? Because there might be harder to find that this game.
That was a tough period to find positives out of. There was some good late pressure.
Hmm.
That mishmash line that got stuck out there, Garland, Hoaglander, and Suter, with some good late pressure there, generated a couple of close chances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Garland. I mean, he's always every night, every game. He's becoming one of the most underrated players in the entire league. Um, what a turnaround, endearing himself to fans now after the trade controversy at the beginning of last season, the fight with Joshua in practice. To see where he's brought his game to and elevated his game to is just incredible. And any line he plays on, he's going to be hard on the puck. He's going to control the puck, and he's going to find the open space when he doesn't have the puck. And so he's just becoming a very, very versatile player, and I love watching him every game.
I know what I love watching is you in that skate jersey. Sorry, I didn't even say that right off the black skate night. But yeah, with Garland, I think we were chatting a little bit about ever since that fight with Dakota Joshua, he's been on fire. So, I mean, we already
best friends now.
We already covered. Yeah, they are best friends now. We covered the downs essentially with that comment, right? Like there wasn't a lot. There was maybe one shift. They looked not bad on that two penalties they got, or power plays they got near the end there. Looking more dangerous than the first one. Sometimes the power play to start the game can be really difficult, but yeah, encouraging that they ended strong, but definitely was a stretch to get started.
Absolutely. A couple negatives I kind of had jotted down. The power play is still sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
We give up a breakaway on the first one,
Mm-hmm.
2-on-1 there late in the period. That has got to stop. I don't know how it stops. I don't know if we have to go to two defensemen on the point to make it stop.
Mm.
I kind of have PD is not being useful on the power play right now. If he's not going to shoot the puck and he's not going to be hard on the puck, then he shouldn't be on the first unit power play.
Well, the
I
way they had
understand
it
he's
set up
struggling
there
right now.
with Besser on the one side, he got that great shot, right? And you got Pettersson on the other side with the other hand. He should be able to get the exact same shot from the other side, theoretically.
Yeah. Yes, and if they're not going to utilize that, then why not unleash the Hronek slap shot and put him out there with Hughes, run two defensemen on the point. You cut down those odd man rushes that you shouldn't be giving up shorthanded.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we start generating some shots on the power play, because it's getting extremely frustrating to watch as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
How we cannot even control the puck in their zone when we have an extra man. Like, what is going on? We have far too much talent, and it just needs to change, and I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah,
and also, with all the scrutiny that's being thrown on PD right now, I think overshadowing a lot of someone else's struggles is DeBrusque. He really has not shown anything offensively in the last few games.
Mm-hmm.
He's forechecking and doing a few things, but you saw on the 2-on-1 with Besser there, I would have expected a shot maybe instead, a shot for a rebound instead of trying to needle that pass through.
But even the pass was a bad one too, right?
Get through. So exactly. And I think it's another player who's got some stuff going on between the ears and needs to get some confidence back. We know he can play well and can play with some edge and attitude, but he seems to have lost that a bit right now.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the point, right? Miller versus PD, it looked like Miller might have been trying to give him some juice in the practice and maybe get his legs going, his heart going. I was hoping maybe the result would be, Dakota Joshua and Garland end up fighting in practice, and Garland's been great ever since. I was hoping maybe you get the same result from Pettersson, but I haven't really seen it so far tonight. What did you see in that report about Miller and Pettersson getting into it in practice? What are your thoughts?
I think it's clear that everyone sees the tough start that Petey's having. Teammates, coaches, fans, Petey. From the sounds of it, there was some information on the 32 Thoughts podcast from Elliot Friedman talking about how Petey's friends are even letting him down by sharing negative things on social media and sending them directly to him. At this point, it's like, Petey, maybe you should get a private number
Hmm.
and focus on the important stuff.
Right.
I think he needs to remember how good of a player he actually is. When you look back to that first goal he scored as a rookie against Calgary, where he came blistering down the wing and just rifled it top
Yeah.
shelf and just basically stuck up his middle finger and said, "I'm here." He's lost so much of that swagger, and I don't understand why. Um, up until the All-Star game last year, it looked like he was going to just keep going and have an amazing pace. And then the All-Star game happened and he fell off a cliff.
Hmm.
And I don't know what happened at the All-Star game. I don't know if he felt left out with the other Canucks that were there and he's just now feeling like an outcast. Um, I know the coaches were disappointed in some of the things he was asked to do in the off season and didn't come in with
Mm.
the upgrades that they expected him to kind of make to his game.
Mm.
And so now we see the coaches leaning on the leaders on the team like Miller and Hughes to kind of push him to find another level and unlock another gear. And you and I have played on teams that not everybody gets along, and at the
I'm
end
sure
of the
we've
day,
gotten into it in
sometimes,
practice. Like I can't remember a
I
specific point,
mean,
but like I was always a fiery guy, right? You've seen me get into it with teammates on a regular basis. It's part of the game.
exactly. I mean, you and I have had our arguments being defensive partners. It happens.
Yeah.
And we don't have coaches obviously in that sort of league, but it does hurt more coming from your peers when you hear something serious. So really hopefully this hits PD in the right ways
Yeah.
and doesn't end up causing, a negative issue. I don't see it causing a negative issue, but things like this can cause locker room tension.
Hmm.
But ultimately, I think we have the right leaders and the right attitudes to keep that sort of thing out of this situation and just move forward and just try and continue to ignite PD and get him going to
Right.
the player we know everyone knows he can be and expects him to be. And I've got to think that PD himself expects it.
Right.
Um he is that type of player. He wants to win. He does want to win, but he's just, I think, right now emotional,
Mm. Yeah.
and he needs to learn to put that aside or channel it into, someone more like Miller, where he channels it into taking it out on the other team
Yeah.
instead of himself.
There's always other team you can fight with too, Petey. Yeah, I mean, and you even saw there was an incident between Brad Marchand and his coach, and then it was John Tortorella and one of his players, and it's not a normal workplace. And I saw a couple conversations about this. Like, everyone's making a big deal out of it. At the end of the day, it's hockey. Emotions are high. Things get crazy, and sometimes you get into it. If I did that at the restaurant, or if I did that in any of my other jobs in my career, there's an issue, right? HR gets involved. In this
Yeah.
situation, that's not what happens. It's part of the game.
Yeah, and of the three situations you mentioned, I think the only one that's really most concerning is the situation in Boston.
Right. Well, but
I
did you
think
see
that's
Marchand's
more of,
comments?
yeah, but that's Marchand being a veteran leader
Right.
and saying the right things in the media. The day after that altercation, I don't know if you saw it, but the Bruins held a players only meeting
Oh, really?
and they left the coaches standing on the ice waiting for them. Their practice was supposed to start at 11:30 and not a single player was on the ice at 11:30.
Interesting.
So they left the coaches hanging and sent a message to the coaches. So it's a bit different situation.
Mutiny.
The Tortorella situation with Sealer, they both said, "Look, we're both passionate guys.
Mhm.
Sometimes that happens. We move forward as a team." Boston, that didn't quite happen as much, and we'll have to keep an eye on that. We could see a coach change here very, very early in the season
Rough
if
start
that
for Boston, right?
situation doesn't clear up.
Yeah. We did see a little bit of freak out on Canucks Twitter with the salary cap gymnastics that was going on. Branstrom and Baines getting sent down the other day. Everyone's like, "What's happening? You just brought them up. Branstrom looks really good there." Blah blah blah. Dustin, what the heck was going on?
That's just paper transactions. It's all in a cap crunch world. Any dollar counts.
Mm.
And so when you have two waiver exempt players that can be moved per se back down to the AHL for one day of saving their NHL salary,
Mhm.
that all counts to when it comes to the trade deadline, and we want to pick up a player that could maybe be the difference between a trade being approved and a trade being denied by the
Right.
NHL. So there's a lot of ins and outs of it, but at this point, it's just kind of, in Chef Alvin, we got to trust as fans. So when you see things like that in Canucks Nation, don't panic. He knows what he's doing. He's shown he knows what he's doing. I think at this point, we kind of got to let Alvin take the reins and just be a little calm about that sort of stuff.
It's time to trust. Chef Alvin knows what he's doing. He knows better than anyone. So
I know we've been hurt many times before with other GMs, but it is time to trust a little bit.
yeah, sometimes you got to leave the baggage at the door.
Exactly.
Well, then we got Pittsburgh in town tonight. They were in Edmonton last night, got whacked. Their rookie goalie facing 50 shots, lost 4-0. But one thing obviously that was talked about, McDavid and Crosby facing each other. Got the Four Nations Cup coming up for the NHL coming up in the spring. I guess it should be late winter, early spring.
Yeah, February or something.
Yeah. I guess it depends on where in Canada you're at. Weather changes a lot depending. So obviously the question to McDavid, he's pretty much the undisputed best player in the whole league. He was asked who gets to be the captain of Team Canada, and his response was like Sidney Crosby. Like, it's not even a question. Like, what does Sidney Crosby mean to Team Canada going to this Four Nations Cup?
Well, I think McDavid just still knows his pecking order when it comes to Canada and the national team, and Crosby has shown no signs of slowing down right now in his career. I mean, he's still playing great. He's still leading this Penguins team, and took the cap friendly contract so they can continue to build and trying to do his management a favor.
It's his meme-worthy contract.
His meme-worthy contract. It's kind of like a respect ladder type of thing. Even after Crosby, I think there's plenty of Canadian captains across the NHL that are far better candidates than McDavid. McDavid is the best player in the league, yes. But until he, can show that he can lead a team to victory, is he really deserving of a C on a national level? There's plenty of other players that are leaders in a different way and have shown they can lead in the postseason and do the things that need to be done to win.
Yeah.
Until McDavid shows me that side of him, I just don't know that he's the right person to lead a national team. Yes, he's going to be a great offensive threat, but I think taking the pressure off of him to lead will allow him to be even more effective in that tournament.
It brought me back because I was doing a little bit of research for the Trevor Linden series that I'm doing. And I went back, it was Trevor Linden at the Olympics playing over there in Nagano. And then I had completely forgotten that the captain for Team Canada going into the first Olympics in like how many years with NHL players, Eric Lindros was the captain of that team. And that, I think the point I wanted to make with that is Eric Lindros took that C with no problem. He was the best player in the world at the time. Absolutely. Was dominating, right? You look at Eric Lindros between 97 and before he started getting the head hits, he was the absolute dominant. But the difference is McDavid knows, and he's like, no, Crosby is still the man, right? So shows you the difference in mentality between a guy like Eric Lindros and a guy like McDavid.
Well, Eric Lindros was always about Eric Lindros. Yeah. You look down that bench and it was a whole bench full of egos. Even the coach had an ego. I mean, Mark Crawford left Wayne Gretzky sitting on the bench in a shootout. So let's not get into the Nagano Olympics.
Oh, we're going to get into it, but that'll be on one of the episodes of the Mayor of Vancouver, a 10-part series of Trevor Linden. Hoping to get the first one out for you guys pretty quick here. Before we get going, I wanted to touch like we do. The Abbey Canucks playing their home opener. I believe it was last night, right?
Yes. Last night they had their home opener. Incredible start to the game. They came out flying the first shift. They could have had about 3 goals on the first shift. They really fed off the crowd energy. Unfortunately, we did give up the first goal of the game. Brisebois was drawing into his first game of the season, and he did have a very awful turnover right up the middle, and it ended up in the back of the net. But that was really the only blemish from the Canucks last night. We had Klimovich, or the Klim Reaper, as they call him in Abbey, with an absolute laser to get Abby's first goal. He had an assist in the game and 5 shots on net. So
Oh, wow.
he has had a great start to the season. He looks offensively driven. His shot looks good, and he's driving the net hard and creating lots of offensive opportunities. Lekaramaki made his first start of the season and looked very good. He had 3 shots on goal. He assisted on the second goal with a shot from the point that was tipped in by Atu Ratu, who was in the lineup again. And then we also had Friedman wire one home in the second period to round out the scoring. There was no scoring in the third. So they won. They took that home 3-1.
Oh, nice.
Tolopilo was sharp again. He stopped 19 of 20 shots. And the Canucks absolutely peppered the San Diego goalie with directing 38 shots on goal.
Yeah, so good effort.
Yeah, great effort. And they're going again tonight. They are in the second period. It is currently 1-0 San Diego, probably on a goal that Tolopilo wants back. It was on a 2-on-1. He kind of had the shot sneak through him, left a juicy rebound for the player driving in the net, and they just banged it home to the yawning cage. Shots are 15-10 for San Diego right now, so Abbotsford's a bit on their heels today. But as you kind of I don't know if you picked up on there, but Tolopilo is getting his back-to-back starts. So he is slowly emerging as the bona fide starter in Abbotsford with his start to the season. He has not yet lost in regulation. He's off to a 3-0 start and looking very solid so far.
Yeah, I'd say he's the new goalie of the future down there. So that's he's looking good to hear that he's doing well. Dustin, for the first time ever, we're going to do something new. I told everyone already. We're going to bring you back onto the show for a quick post-game chat just to see how things ended up. So until then, enjoy the game, and we'll chat with you soon, brother.
Absolutely. Go Canucks, and we will talk to you soon.
Nothing is perfect.